Does money keep you up at night? You're not alone. It's 2025, and the world's a financial meat grinder. Bills piling up like a house of cards, savings shrinking faster than you can blink, that cold sweat when you check your account and wonder if you're one paycheck away from nothing. I'm John, and this is the Stoic Beacon, the place where we don't just survive chaos, we dominate it. I've been there, staring down my bank balance like it's a loaded gun, heart pounding, head spinning with what ifs. What if I can't pay rent? What if I'm broke by next year? But here's the kicker. I found a way out. And it's not some get-rich-quick scam. It's raw, 2,000-year-old Stoic wisdom from guys like Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius. 5 lessons that smashed my financial anxiety to pieces and handed me back my life. Today, we're diving into that exact playbook. No fluff, no nonsense, just hard-hitting tools to master your mind and your money in this storm. I used to lose sleep over every dime. Now I sleep like a rock, and you can too. Stick with me for the next hour plus. You'll walk away with 5 real steps to crush that fear and own 2025, not just scrape by. Grab a drink, kill those notifications, and let's get to work, because your peace starts right here, right now. Why is financial anxiety the storm of 2025? Let's paint the picture. It's 2025, and money stress is a full-on hurricane tearing through our lives. Inflation's choking the air out of us, rent's spiking like a bad fever, and every paycheck feels like it's melting before it even hits your pocket. I've been there, lying awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding like a war drum, counting every penny and wondering if I'd ever dig myself out of the hole. The numbers don't lie. Over 60% of us are losing sleep over cash this year, more than any time in a decade. It's not just about bank accounts. It's a mental chokehold. The creeping dread of debt swallowing you whole. The quiet shame of not keeping up with the Joneses. The gut-wrenching fear that retirement's a pipe dream and you're doomed to scrape by forever. I used to check my savings app 10 times a day, watching it shrink, feeling like I was drowning in quicksand with no rope. But here's where it gets real. This isn't new. 2,000 years ago, Seneca was dodging Rome's brutal taxes and crooked markets. Marcus Aurelius was staring down war debts. And they didn't just survive. They thrived. How? They cracked the code. Anxiety's not about the coins. It's about the cage in your head. They built a fortress of calm we can steal from today. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're not here to cry about the storm. We're here to punch through it with stoic steel. 5 lessons are coming your way to rip that fear apart and hand you back your power. So let's hit the ground running with the first one. Lesson 1. Determine what you control. All right, buckle up. We're diving headfirst into the mess that keeps us awake. Financial anxiety's a savage beast, and it's got its teeth sunk deep because we're wasting our fight on shadows we can't touch, can't wrestle, can't choke out. Picture the scene. It's 2025, and the world's a financial slaughterhouse. Inflation's roaring through the roof like a freighter train off the rails. The stock market's crashing down like a rickety shack in a tornado. Interest rates spiking so high, they're practically laughing in your face as they squeeze every last dime from your pocket. You wake up, flip on the news, and it's like a sledgehammer to the chest. Boom. Markets down 5%. Bam. Gas prices up again. Wham. Another bill you didn't see coming. I've lived that nightmare, man. For months, I was chained to my phone, refreshing stock apps like a junkie chasing a fix, eyes glued to those little numbers ticking down, red lines slashing across the screen like bloodstains on a butcher's apron, my stomach twisting into a pretzel, my chest so tight I could barely breathe, thinking, "This is it. I'm toast. I'm buried alive. Everything I've busted my ass for is slipping through my fingers like sand." I'd sit there, hands shaking, sweat beading on my forehead, scrolling through a barrage of headlines. Market plummets again. Recession around the corner. Your savings are doomed. Every word a dagger, every dip a brick on my back, every notification a scream in my ear. It's like standing in a Category 5 hurricane, swinging wild punches at the wind. You're drenched, you're battered, you're yelling at a monster that doesn't even flinch, doesn't even know your name. It's not just exhausting, it's a soul-sucking, mind-breaking waste, a freight train to crazy town with no brakes. But then Epictetus, this Stoic titan, who lived with nothing but his own iron will, storms in and slams down a truth that slices through the chaos like a machete. There's what's yours and what's not. Lock your eyes on your turf, let the rest rot in the dirt. You hear that? You can't hog-tie the economy. It's a feral, snarling wolf that doesn't care if your rent's due or your fridge is empty. You can't stop the Fed from hiking rates, can't keep Wall Street from torching your 401k, can't snap your fingers and make gas cheaper. That's their sandbox, their circus, their pack of howling monkeys running riot. But you've got your own sandbox, your own ring, your own damn fight. That's where the real juice flows. I quit chasing the Dow Jones like a fool and turned the spotlight on my own backyard. What's in my grip? Subscriptions I didn't even use. 3 streaming apps gathering dust, a gym membership I hadn't touched since New Year's, chopped, gone, erased. Coffee runs bleeding $5 a pop out of my wallet every other day. Axed, brewed my own instead. Impulse buys online because I was restless. Slashed. Didn't need that crap anyway. I clawed back $50 a month just by hacking away that dead weight. It's not a fortune, sure, but it's my dirt, my rules, my win. And it felt like I'd just punched a hole through a brick wall. That's the Stoic edge, right there. You don't control the tsunami crashing outside your house, but you control the locks on your door, the boards on your windows, the fire you build to ride it out. Here's your shot. Grab a pen, a scrap of paper, hell, use your hand if you have to. Right now, today, scribble down 3 things you can cut loose. That streaming service you don't watch, that takeout you could skip, that random gadget you bought on a whim. Chop it down, shred it to pieces, burn it to the ground. Then let the market tumble, let the headlines wail, let the world spin itself dizzy. It's not your war, not your burden, not your chains to wear. I went from a jittery wreck clutching my phone to a guy who stands tall, breathes deep, owns his ground. You've got that same fire in you. Take it, grip it tight, wield it like a damn sword. This is your power, and it's sitting there begging to be unleashed. Lesson 2, limiting unnecessary anxiety. Let's rip the lid off this one. Financial anxiety doesn't just hit you in the present. It drags you into a dark, twisted future that hasn't even happened yet. And it's a relentless bastard. You're lying in bed, eyes wide open, staring into the black, and your brain's spinning a horror movie on repeat. You're old, broke, alone, scavenging for scraps because your savings ran dry, your house got snatched by the bank, and you're one step from living in a cardboard box under a bridge somewhere. I've been there, man, and it's a gut-wrenching hell. For years I'd toss and turn, 2 a.m. shadows creeping across my ceiling, picturing every dime I've got evaporating like smoke. What if I lose my job tomorrow? What if the market tanks again? What if I can't pay the mortgage and end up on the street with nothing but a grocery bag and a prayer? My heart would race like a jackhammer, my palms slick with sweat, chest emo tight. It felt like a vice was crushing my ribs. Every night, a fresh nightmare. Every quiet moment hijacked by visions of doom. Every bill a trigger, pulling me deeper into that pit. It's not just sleepless nights. It's a slow bleed, a mental torture chamber where you're the prisoner and the executioner, whipping yourself with chains you forged in your own head. You're not living. You're drowning in a sea of what-ifs, flailing against waves that aren't even real yet. But then Seneca, this Stoic genius who saw this through life's bullshit, storms in and throws a lifeline. We suffer more in our imagination than in reality. Let that sink in. Your wallet might be thin, but your mind's making it a death sentence. The Stoics didn't mess around with this. They knew worrying about tomorrow's ghosts steals today's strength. And they had a fix. Draw a line, cap that crap, shove it in a box, and slam the lid shut. You can't stop the future from coming, but you can stop it from owning you right now. Here's how I broke free, and it's yours to grab. Set a worry window, 15 minutes. That's all it gets. After 6 p.m., I'd let myself stew. Bills, debts, the whole ugly mess. But when that clock hit 6:15, it was over. Done. Finito. I'd slam the door on it. No more spinning, no more spiraling, and pick up a book, take a walk, hell, even just stare at the wall, anything to kick that beast out of my skull. At first, it was brutal. My brain fought back, clawing to drag me down that rabbit hole again. But I held the line, night after night, and slowly the chains started snapping. Sleep came back, peace crept in. Not because my bank account grew, but because I stopped letting tomorrow's shadows choke today's air. You've got that same shot. Pick your window tonight, right now. Give it 15 minutes. Scribble every fear if you have to, then burn it, bury it, lock it away. After that, it's done. You're free, you're breathing, you're back in the driver's seat. I went from a sleepless wreck to a guy who owns his nights. You can too. Draw that line, cap that noise, take your life back. This is your turf, and you're calling the shots now. Lesson 3, reorienting the mind. Here's where it gets brutal. Even if you've locked down what you can control and capped your worry, your mind's still a wild horse. One buck, one kick, and it's galloping off into the abyss, dragging you with it. Picture this, a single curveball, like a $200 bill you didn't see coming, lands in your mailbox, and suddenly your whole world's on fire. That happened to me. And it wasn't pretty. I ripped open the envelope, saw that number staring back at me like a smug bastard, and I lost it. Full-on meltdown, pacing the kitchen like a caged animal, palms sweaty, heart slamming against my ribs, head spinning with a tornado of crap. Where's this money coming from? I'm already stretched thin. Am I going to have to sell something? Skip meals? Beg? It wasn't just $200. It was a sledgehammer to my chest, a match to a pile of dry tinder, setting off every fear I'd ever buried. I could see it all. The late notices piling up, the bank laughing as they took my car, me hunched over a calculator at 3 a.m., drowning in red ink, every worst-case scenario crashing over me like a tidal wave I couldn't outrun. One bill, one stupid piece of paper, and I was a wreck, a prisoner in my own skull, chained to a monster I'd built out of thin air. It's not the cash that kills you, it's the way your brain grabs it, twists it, turns it into a noose around your neck. You've been there too, right? A late fee, a car repair, a grocery run that's $50 over, and boom, your mind's off the rails, painting doom across every corner of your life. But here's where the Stoics flip the script, and it's pure gold. Marcus Aurelius, the guy who ran an empire while dodging spears and traitors, steps up and drops this bomb. If you're torn up about something, it's not the thing itself. It's the way you're sizing it up. Let that hit you. That $200 didn't ruin me. I did, because I let it grow fangs and claws in my head. Marcus had this trick, this badass move. He'd climb up to a mental cliff, look down at the chaos of life, wars, debts, betrayals, and see it all as tiny specks, little dots scattered across a map too big to care. That's the Stoic superpower. Zoom out, way out, until the monster's just a flea you can flick off your sleeve. You don't fight the storm, you rise above it. So here's how I turned it around, and it's yours to steal. Next time your mind bolts, maybe a bill, a budget bust, whatever, stop, plant your feet, and take 3 deep breaths, slow and heavy, like you're pulling the air from the bottom of your gut. Then ask yourself one stone-cold question. Does this kill me a year from now, 5 years, 10? 9 times out of 10, it's a no. That $200, a blip, a speck, a nothing in the grand sprawl of your life. Then grab a scrap of paper and scribble down 3 things you've got right now. Your kid's goofy grin, the coffee that woke you up, the fact you're still breathing and kicking. I started doing this every day. One morning it was my dog snoring, a sunny porch, a sandwich I didn't screw up, and it's like flipping a switch. That bill shrank from a roaring lion to a yapping pup I could shoo away. It's not about dodging the hit, it's about choosing how big it looms. I went from sweating bullets over every dime to laughing at how small it all looks from up high. You can too. Stand on that cliff. Breathe it in. Write it down. Take your mind back. Because this is your turf. Your fight. Your win. Lesson 4. Dealing with financial failure. Let's face the ugly beast head on. Financial failure isn't just a bump in the road, it's a sledgehammer to the gut that leaves you gasping, bleeding, and kicking yourself into a pit of shame. You've been there, I sure as hell have. A few years back, I dumped $1,000 into a hot stock tip. Some sure thing. A buddy swore would double overnight. Instead, it tanked, crashed like a lead balloon, and I watched every penny evaporate in a heartbeat. Gone, dust, nothing left but a hollow ache and a mirror full of regret. I'd sit there, staring at the screen, jaw clenched, fists balled up, replaying every dumb move like a broken record. Why'd I trust that guy? Why didn't I check? I'm an idiot, a failure. I've screwed myself and everyone counting on me. That sting wasn't just about the cash. It was the weight of screwing up, the knife twist of knowing I'd lost big, the late nights cursing my own name while the bills kept stacking higher. It's a black hole. One bad investment, one missed payment, one gamble that flops, and suddenly you're not just broke, you're broken, drowning in self-loathing. Every mistake a brick piling on your chest until you can't breathe. You felt that too. A deal gone south, a savings dip you didn't catch, a hustle that left you flat. And it's not the money that haunts you, it's the voice, screaming, you're a loser who can't get it right. But here's where Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who took hits harder than most, strides in and flips the whole damn game. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and see failure as training, not a tombstone. That's the gut punch truth. That 1,000 didn't bury me. I buried myself by letting it define me. Marcus didn't cry over lost battles or burned cash. He stood on the ashes, picked apart what went wrong, and turned it into steel for the next round. Failure's not the end. It's the forge where you hammer out a tougher you. So here's how I clawed out. Grab this. It's yours. Next time you take a financial hit, a busted stock, a loan you can't pay, whatever, don't flinch, don't fold. Sit down, crack it open like a battlefield map. What happened? Where'd it break? What's the lesson? I dissected that $1,000 flop, trusted too fast, didn't dig deep. Then I let the guilt go. Dropped it like a hot coal, because beating myself bloody changes nothing. You do the same. Analyze it, learn it, ditch the self-hate. That mistake's not your coffin. It's your drill sergeant, barking orders to make you sharper, harder, ready to win next time. I went from kicking myself raw to standing up, dusting off and swinging again. You can too. Face that failure, tear it apart, let it train you. This is your comeback, not your collapse. Lesson 5. Reorienting the mind. Get ready to wrestle the real demon here. Even when you have nailed control, capped worry, accepted the inevitable and faced failure head on, your mind can still turn traitor. One rogue spark, and it's a wildfire, torching everything you've built. Picture this. A $200 bill sneaks into your mailbox like a thief in the night, uninvited, unwanted, smirking at you from that crisp envelope. That's what hit me, and it wasn't just a bill, it was a damn detonation. I tore it open, saw those 3 digits glaring back like a middle finger from the universe, and I snapped. Full meltdown mode, pacing my kitchen like a caged tiger, sweat dripping down my back, heart hammering so hard I thought it'd bust through my chest, brain spinning a cyclone of panic. Where's this cash coming from? I'm already tapped out. Am I cutting groceries? Selling my couch? Begging on my knees? That $200 wasn't just money. It was a beast, a roaring freight train of dread smashing through my skull, tearing open every old wound, every buried fear, late notices piling up like a mountain, the bank repo guy banging on my door, me hunched over a calculator at midnight with bloodshot eyes, drowning in a sea of red numbers I couldn't swim out of. One lousy bill, one measly piece of paper, and I was a train wreck, a puppet jerking on strings I didn't even tie, my own mind turning that molehill into a volcano ready to blow me to ash. You've been there too. A surprise car repair, a rent hike, a grocery run that guts your budget, and bam, your head's a runaway train, plowing through every calm corner you fought to hold, leaving you gasping in the wreckage. But here's where Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic king who stared down empires and assassins, throws you a lifeline that cuts through the flames. It's not the thing tearing you up, it's how you judge it. Chew on that. That $200 didn't wreck me. I wrecked myself by letting it balloon into a monster in my head. Marcus had this trick up his sleeve, a straight-up power move. He'd climb a mental peak, look down at life's mess, wars, debts, chaos, and see it all shrink to dots, tiny specks on a canvas, too vast to shake him. That's your weapon. Zoom out, way out, until the beast's just a bug you can squash under your boot. Here's how I flipped the switch, and it's yours to grab. Next time, your mind bolts. A bill, a budget bust, anything. Slam the brakes root yourself to the floor and pull 3 deep breaths, heavy and slow, like you're dragging air from the Earth's core. Then hit yourself with this ice-cold question. Does this bury me a year from now? 5 years? 10? Most times, it's a hard no. That $200, a flicker, a speck, a ghost that fades in the sprawl of your life. Then snatch a napkin, a receipt, anything, and scribble 3 things you've got right now. Your kids' laugh echoing down to the hall, the coffee that jolted you awake, the fact your heart's still pumping and you're still here swinging. I do this daily now. One day, it was my dog chewing a sock, a warm shower, a breath of crisp air, and it's like flipping a breaker. That bill went from a fire-breathing dragon to a mosquito I could swat away. It's not about dodging the punch, it's about shrinking it down to size. I turned from a guy trembling over every buck to a man laughing at how puny it looks from the top. You've got that same steel in you. Climb that peak, breathe it in, write it down. Take your mind back, own this fight. This is your turf now. Lesson 6. Find joy beyond money. Here's the gut punch we've been dodging. Money's a tyrant, and we've let it chain us to a treadmill of misery, running ourselves ragged for a finish line that keeps moving. More cash, more stuff, more stress, and still that hollow ache gnawing at your insides. I've bled for that trap, years grinding overtime, chasing every extra dollar like it was oxygen, missing dinners with my kid, skipping walks with my dog, staring at spreadsheets instead of stars, all because I thought a fatter bank account spelled happiness. Spoiler, it didn't. I'd hit a bonus, pocket $500 extra, and yeah, the high lasted maybe a day. Then bam, back to the grind, back to the worry, back to that sinking feeling that no number would ever be enough. It's a rigged game. You claw for more, but the hole just gets deeper, the pressure tighter, until you're not living. You're just surviving, a hamster on a wheel spinning nowhere fast, every bill a whip cracking your back, every paycheck a tease that fades before you can breathe. You felt it too, working late to pay off a loan, skipping a friend's call to crunch numbers, watching life slip by while you chase a dollar that doesn't care. It's a soul-crushing lie we've bought, that joy's locked in your wallet, that peace comes with a price tag. But Seneca, the Stoic sage who could have bathed in gold but chose simplicity, smashes that myth with a hammer. True wealth isn't in your purse, it's in your soul. Chew on that. He's saying the game's upside down, that we've been digging in the dirt when the real treasure's been inside us all along. Money buys bread, sure, but joy, that's free, and it's been waiting for you to stop running long enough to grab it. Here's how I broke the chains. Take this, it's yours. Ditch the cash chase and hunt what's already yours. Joy that doesn't cost a dime. I started small, swapped scrolling for a walk in the park, leaves crunching under my boots, air sharp in my lungs. No bill could touch that. Sat with my kid, built a rickety kite from sticks and string, laughed till my sides hurt as it crashed. No paycheck ever felt that good. Called my mum, heard her voice crack with a story from way back. That's gold, no bank can match. You don't need a fat wad to feel alive. Ditch the phone one night, step outside, feel the wind, talk to someone who gives a damn about you, not your balance. I went from a guy shackled to dollars, eyes bloodshot from screens, to a man who laughs loud and sleeps deep. All because I stopped letting money own my joy. You've got that same fire. It's not hiding in your account. It's in the dirt under your feet, the voices around your table. Quit chasing shadows. Grab what's real. This is your life, not your ledger, and it's yours to ignite right now. Lesson 7. Small actions, big wins. Here's the dirty little secret about financial anxiety. It's not the big crashes or monster bills that grind you down. It's the slow, relentless drip of worry, day after day, that turns your life into a slog, a treadmill of dread you can't outrun. I've been stuck there, trapped in that muck, waking up every morning with a knot in my gut, staring at my coffee like it's poison, counting the hours till the next paycheck, every tick of the clock, a reminder I'm barely keeping my head above water. It's not one blowout fight, it's 1,000 tiny cuts. A $5 overdraft here, a $10 late fee there, a grocery bill creeping higher. And before you know it, you're not just broke, you're beaten. A hollowed-out shell dragging through the days. Every small slip a whisper that you'll never climb out. You've felt that grind too. The quiet panic when your card swipes. The flinch at every bank alert. The weight of knowing you're one stubbed toe from sinking. It's a war of attrition, a slow bleed that carves you up until you're too damn tired to fight back. But Epictetus, the Stoic hard-ass who turns scraps into strength, stomps in and flips the script with a line that hits like a brick. Focus on what you can do today. The rest isn't yours to carry. That's the raw deal. You don't need $1 million or a miracle to the win. You need small, gritty moves, day in, day out, stacking up like bricks in a wall no storm can topple. I was drowning in that drip until I grabbed this. It's yours now. Start tiny. Win big. I kicked it off with $1. Yeah, one measly buck. Tossed it in a jar every day. No excuses, no bullshit. Sounds like nothing, right? But that jar grew. $30 in a month, $365 in a year. Not a fortune, but a lifeline. A middle finger to the grind that said, I'm not your bitch anymore. Then I scribbled a plan. Not some fancy spreadsheet, just a napkin with coffee at home, skip takeout twice, simple, rough mine. That one and that scribble weren't just cash, they were punches. Small jabs landing day after day, building a rhythm that drowned out the drip. You don't need a windfall, you need a start. Grab a coin right now, $1, a quarter, hell, a dime. Drop it somewhere, anywhere, and do it tomorrow, then the next day. Write one move, skip a soda, walk instead of ride. Keep it stupid simple. I went from a guy crushed by the slow bleed to a man stacking wins brick by brick. You've got that same steel. One step, $1, one day. That's your fight, your win, your wall. And it's rising now. Lesson 8. Building sustainable value. Let's rip the mask off the biggest lie we've swallowed. We've been sprinting after money like it's the holy grail, the golden ticket to fix every damn thing, and it's left us hollowed out, chasing a ghost that slips through our fingers the harder we grab. I've run that race, bleeding, sweating, breaking my back for years, chasing every buck like it was the key to life, piling up overtime shifts, hustling side gigs, eyes glued to my account, watching the numbers tick up, thinking, this is it, more cash, more safety, more me. But here's the brutal punchline. It's a sham. I'd snag a $1,000 raise, feel like a king for a hot minute, new shoes, takeout, a little flex, then bam, the shine wore off. The bills crept back and I was right back in the grinder, heart pounding, gut twisting, no richer in anything that mattered. Money's a drug. You chase the high, crash harder, wake up emptier, every dollar a tease that promises peace but delivers chains. You've been there too. Burning weekends for a bonus, skipping sleep to scrape a few extra bucks, running yourself into the dirt until you're not a person anymore, just a machine fueled by panic, every paycheck a hit that fades before you can blink. It's a hamster wheel to nowhere. The more you chase, the less you've got, the tighter the noose around your neck. But Seneca, the Stoic titan, who could have drowned in wealth but chose bare-bones truth, blasts through that fog with a line that hits like a freight train. True wealth isn't in your hands, it's in your soul. Let that sink deep. He's flipping the script, telling you the gold isn't in your wallet. It's in what you build inside. What no crash can snatch, no bill can burn. I was a slave to that chase until I grabbed this. It's yours now. Stop running for cash and start forging value that lasts. I ditched the grind for skills, real gritty stuff no bank can repossess. Budgeting hit first. I sat my ass down, cracked open a notebook, tracked every dime like a hawk, turned chaos into order, saved $20 a week just knowing where it went. Cooking cheap followed. Swapped $15 takeout for a $3 pot of rice and beans, tasted better because it was mine. Fixing crap myself, a leaky faucet, a busted chair, no handyman bill, just sweat and a win. That's wealth, not stacks of green, but steel in your spine, tools in your hands, stuff the world can't take. You don't need a fortune to stand tall. Grab one skill, any skill right now. Budget $10 this week, cook one meal, fix one thing. Small, rough, yours. I went from a hollowed-out cash chaser, strung out on the next hit, to a guy who owns his worth. You've got that same iron. Quit the race, build the real. This is your ground, your gold, your fight, and it's unbreakable. Let's bring this home. We've forged 5 Stoic weapons to obliterate financial anxiety in 2025. And this isn't some fluffy feel-good talk. This is a full-on war chest to take your life back from the brink. First, we carved out what you can control, your moves, your cuts, not the market's chaos. And I went from a jittery mess, refreshing stock apps, to slashing $50 a month off my own fat, standing on my own turf. Then, we capped that useless worry. I locked it in a 15-minute cage, kicked it out of my nights, and started sleeping like a man who owns his hours, not a slave to tomorrow's ghosts. Next, we accepted the unchangeable. Those damn fixed costs, like rent, stopped owning me when I nodded and moved on, breathing easier with every step. After that, we redirected the mind. A $200 bill went from a gut punch to a speck I laughed off, all because I zoomed out and wrote down 3 wins that matter. Finally, we built real value. I ditched chasing cash for skills, learned budgeting, and found gold that no crash can touch. This isn't surviving the money storm. This is thriving, rising above it, spitting in its face while it howls. I used to be a guy who'd lie awake, heart racing, drowning in what-ifs. Now I'm the guy who sleeps deep, walks tall, and doesn't flinch when the mailbox rattles. You're next. This isn't a maybe, it's a must, and it starts right now. Here's your battle plan. Tonight, grab your phone and slaughter 5 notifications. Kill the noise that's been choking you. Leave only what's worth a damn, like a call from your mum or a real emergency. Then, set your worry slot. 15 minutes after dinner, let it rip. But when it's done, slam that door shut and own your night. Read a book, stare at the stars. Anything but that spiral. Tomorrow, Face one fixed cost, rent, gas, whatever. Look it in the eye, nod, and let it go. No more clawing at concrete. Day after, when stress hits, breathe 3 times deep. Ask, does this kill me in a year? And scribble 3 gratitudes. Your coffee, your kid, your pulse. Watch that fear shrink to nothing. Last, pick one skill this week. Budgeting, cooking cheap, fixing crap. Something no bank can steal. I'm not asking for perfection. I slip 2, miss a day, feel the old itch. But every step's a brick in your fortress. Start with 1, build it up, and you'll feel the ground steady, the air lighten, the storm fade. This is your shot to not just scrape by 2025, but to crush it, own it, make it bow. Subscribe to the Stoic Beacon. Every video's shut us a hammer for this fight, and I'm not letting you go it alone. Comment your first move below. What's step 1 for you? Tell me, let's lock arms and smash this bastard together. You're in, you're tough, let's roll. We've fought a hell of a battle. 5 stoic blades sharpened and swung, cutting through the financial chaos of 2025 like a hot knife through butter. Now, let's drop the weapons for a second and breathe, really breathe. Because this is where it all lands, where it sinks in deep. I want you to do something with me right now. Shut your eyes, block out the noise, and take a hard, slow trip back to the last time you felt free, truly free, from the chokehold of money. For me, it's burned into my skull. A night years back, sitting on a creaky porch, under a sky punched full of stars, no debt clawing at my throat, no bank statements gnashing their teeth in my head, just me, the cool air, and a quiet so thick I could wrap it around me like armor. I'd just paid off a chunk of crap that had been dragging me down. And for once, the numbers didn't own me. I owned them. That wasn't luck. That was Stoicism doing its work, carving out a piece I'd forgotten I could claim. Maybe your moment's different. A morning with no phone buzzing, sipping coffee while the world slept, or a day you looked at your kid and didn't see a $sign hanging over their head. Whatever it is, grab it, hold it tight, feel it in your bones. That's the gold Stoicism hands you, not some fleeting high, but a rock-solid calm you build brick by brick. I chase that now. Every morning, I ditch the screen for 10 minutes, sit with my coffee, let the silence roar louder than any bill ever could, and it's like striking oil in a desert of noise. You've got that same spark buried in you. This whole fight, these 5 lessons, they're not just about dodging money stress. They're about clawing back that freedom, that quiet, that power no bank can touch. So close those eyes one more time. Taste it, live it, own it. Then open them and tell me, what's your moment? Drop it in the comments below. Your porch, your coffee, your stars. Share that fire with me, with us, because we're not just surviving this storm, we're lighting it up together. This is your win. Keep it burning. We've forged 8 stoic weapons to crush financial anxiety. Control, limits, acceptance, resilience, redirection, joy, small wins, lasting value. This isn't just talk. It's your ticket out of the money trap. I went from sleepless nights to iron calm. You're next. The Stoic Beacon delivers. Real tools to kill stress, own your cash, live free. Subscribe now. Every video's a hammer to smash that fear. A step, to unbreakable you. Don't just watch. Join me. Grab this power. Comment your first move below. Let's keep this fire roaring.